Welcome to Economics, Lesson 11. Government production of goods and services. Our lesson objectives are: understand and describe the meaning of the term public good in relation to economics, understand and describe the purpose of subsidizing products and services, describe how subsidizing public goods affects society in both positive and negative ways. Additional suggested reading and review can be found at the following PDF available on the slideshow. Introduction. In our market-directed economy, producers provide goods and services that consumers demand as long as they can collect the selling price and can make a profit. However, there are some products and services that are desired by consumers but that are not profitable for producers to offer. With other products and services, it is not easy or possible to collect the selling price. When either of these factors exists, sometimes the government will provide the product or service or subsidize a company to provide the product or service. The government might also provide goods or services that are not feasible for individual consumers to own. Public goods. Goods and services produced by the government are referred to as public goods. One reason for public goods is that it is not feasible or efficient to recover the full cost by charging the people who use the products or services directly. Roads and highways would be a good example of this situation. Another reason for public goods is that the goods or services cannot be sold for a high enough prices to cover production and distribution costs, but they are of sufficient importance to society. Libraries and public schools would be a good example of this situation. Our founding fathers realized that some products and services must clearly be public goods. National defense is an obvious example. It is just not feasible for individuals to purchase missiles to protect their homes against attacks from foreign enemies. Other benefactors. Goods and services sometimes benefit people other than the purchasers. The internet and email not only benefit the subscriber, but also provide benefits to everyone who emails that person. The subscriber pays for the monthly connection, but all emailers receive benefits from their connections, even though they do not pay for them. Of course, most of them have internet and email connections of their own, which they do pay for. But for more people who have internet and email, the more use one's own connection is. Consequently, the internet and email provide benefits not only to the purchaser, but to other people as well. If goods and services are supplied by private enterprises, the price must cover their costs. Buyers must pay for the total cost of production and distribution. If people are unwilling to pay the price, the goods and services are not produced. However, there are some products for which the benefits are so significant that their production is justified even if buyers are unwilling to pay the price. If our country did not have a literate population, it could not operate industries efficiently or provide the professional services needed by people. This is the justification for the government to pay for education. Because of the benefits resulting from education, families are not required to pay the full cost of their children's schooling. The government pays most of the costs for public education from the collection of taxes from everyone. Public health services, medical research, and postal services are other examples where services benefit people other than those directly receiving the services. Public goods and equality. Sometimes public goods are provided in order to meet the goal of greater equality. Public transportation, for example, is most heavily used by lower income groups, including young people and the elderly. This is one of the justifications for government subsidies to public transit systems. It helps to achieve the socioeconomic goal of greater economic equality. An alternate way to achieve the goal of greater equality would be to give direct subsidies to low-income people. In some ways, this might satisfy the goal of equality more efficiently. Income supplements might help low-income people more than subsidized bus fares because such supplements permit them to choose the best transportation means for their particular needs. The argument over which is the best approach, income supplements or public services, will go on forever. On the surface, income supplements and choices seem to be the fairest way of achieving economic equality, but there may be many other costs involved. For example, if a low-income person decided he or she would like an automobile of his or her own For maximum flexibility, he or she would also incur other expenses such as gas, insurance, and maintenance costs, just to name a few. In order for supplements to be large enough to cover all the associated costs, the tax burden on the rest of society would have to increase. What next? Take the time to go back and review the lesson on your own. After your review, complete the lesson review for the lesson and submit for grading. Remember, your submission should follow all the rules for standard written English. All submissions must be written in your own words and sources used cited at the end. How to cite sources in APA format. When you reference a source within an APA-style paper, whether it is using a direct quote, repurposing an image, or simply referring to an idea or theory, you should insert an in-text citation. The author's surname and the date of publication within parentheses straight after a direct quote. CitationMachine.net will assist you in creating citations.